ordered pairs. Last time we talked about patterns, and now we're going to talk about making sense of these patterns. And one of the best ways to make sense of patterns is to draw pictures with the numbers. Probably most of you have seen different graphs with regard to everything happening in the real world. With regard to the COVID crisis, for example. Very early on, you could hear the adults talking about, well, we have to wear masks, we have to do all this stuff to flatten the curve. They're talking about graphs. And today we are going to talk about graphs. And they're very important because they make things much clearer for a lot of people to be able to see a picture than just look at a bunch of numbers. So first we need to learn about words with our graph. This, my friends, is called the coordinate plane. And I know that it's a whiteboard and it doesn't have all of the lines, but this is the best I got at home. So anyway, this is the coordinate plane. Fifth graders, we deal only with positive numbers. Those are numbers that are 0 and above. When you go further in your education, you will learn about negative numbers, numbers that are less than 0. And they live all over here. But in fifth grade, we live in one quadrant of the coordinate plane right here. We live here, and this is where all of our questions take place. So some words to know. The coordinate plane is formed when two perpendicular number lines intersect. So this is a number line, this is a number line. They have intersected. Where they intersect is called the origin, and its address is 0, 0. So this number line will start at 0 and go all the way to whatever you want it to in positive numbers. This number line will start at 0 and go all the way up to whatever you need it to go in positive numbers. So an ordered pair is kind of like an address of a point. So if I have a point on my graph and I need to know where it lives, I use the numbers on the X, if it lives here, I use the numbers on the X and Y axis to tell me its address. So I'm going to illustrate that using our example from our last video for Maria and Jay, our two runners who are crazy going to run a half marathon, 13 miles, God bless them. So, if you recall this one, okay, these were the two sequences, one for Maria, one for Jay. And if I wanted to see all these great numbers and take a look at a picture of what these numbers really look like, I would draw a graph. And the first step is to translate all these numbers into ordered pairs. Now to do that, I'm going to take, for Maria, first let's talk about Maria. We'll do Maria first, and then we'll do Jay. So for Maria, in week 1, she went 2 miles. So our first ordered pair is 1, 2. And it's written like that. And we'll talk about that in a second. Our next ordered pair is 2, 4, 3, 6, 4, 8, and 5, 10. So those are the addresses of Maria and her progress. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 corresponds to the number of weeks, and 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 correspond to the number of miles that this crazy girl, that this woman ran. Oh my God. Anyway, so when we, we will begin to make sense of these by listing our ordered pairs. Now, Jay, what will his ordered pairs be? Well, for week 1, he's still going to have a 1, right? So it's going to be 1, but in week 1, Jay ran 4 miles. So it's going to be 1, 4. Week 2, 2, 8. Week 3 is 3, comma 12, and so on until you have the whole sequence written in ordered pairs. Oops, 20. So here are the ordered pairs for Maria and Jay. So far, it doesn't look like much, but it's gonna. Now, a couple things about the coordinate graph, the quadrant that we are looking at. And these are things that aren't in your MyMath book because, I don't know, maybe I was the only one who kept messing it up. In the coordinate graph, and with the ordered pairs, your coordinates are always listed in this order, x, comma, y, where x is the number on the horizontal axis, because that's what we call this line. It's called an axis. And y is the vertical axis. They're really just number lines, but we call them axis because we need to be fancy. This is a graph, come on. Now, I always mess that up. Here's how I remember. I remember that the y is the vertical one because y, see how it has that long tail? Yeah, it doesn't really have that tail so long. I did that because that's how I always remember that the vertical axis is a y, because y has a long tail. So that's how I remember that. Next thing I always messed up was the order of my terms in my ordered pairs. Until one day, why didn't anybody, maybe everybody just thought that everybody knew it. I didn't know it. One day I noticed that they're in alphabetical order. X comes before Y. I don't know. Why didn't anyone tell me that? Maybe you're just supposed to know. Well, I didn't know. And then I figured out that they're in alphabetical order, and then I never had another problem. So those are just a couple of tips about graphing on issues that I had that now you don't have to worry about because I tell you. Okay, so we are going to